Hello, and welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host, Aurora, and I'm very happy to be spending some time with you today. I hope you're doing well. Today's episode is inspired by a dear listener of mine. Hand in hand, unconditional love. I think unconditional love is what we all crave. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel as if we can expand and change whenever we feel like it. We are free to decide in which direction our life goes. We are free to express ourselves authentically. Is that the case in your relationship? In your romantic relationship? Or maybe you're single at the moment and you wonder how it was in the past and how it's going to be in the future to experience unconditional love. I say it with such a soothing and warm voice, and at the same time I have to warn you that I believe unconditional love doesn't really exist in this Western world among lovers in romantic relationships. I experience unconditional love with my friends. I do whatever I want and they cheer for me. I date whoever I want and they cheer for me. I make mistakes and they call me out on my bullshit. I make decisions and they listen and are excited for me. With a partner, though, I feel it is very different. When there is strong feelings involved, when you're building something together, then you have to have a set of rules in place in order to function as a team. And it is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing that you have to find a person who matches your needs, who matches your conditions. And that person has to be good, okay, with your conditions you put in place. I feel a lot of times people think, my relationship is so conditional. I feel so stuck. I feel so bored. I feel understimulated. I feel dull. Yet, are they living up to their highest potential? Do they maybe use their relationship and their partner to make excuses to not evolve and to have someone else to blame them? I feel that's the case at times. And a lot of times people are in relationships and are very fear-driven. And those fear-driven people have even more conditions in place in order to be happy and feel satisfied in a relationship. It is extremely tricky because those things don't really show up initially when you meet the person, when you fall in love. They come up over time. It is fears that we acquired maybe even as a child, as a youngster. Maybe after our first heartbreak, we made certain conclusions about ourselves and the world because we promised ourselves to not go through such an amount of pain anymore. So what I want to challenge you to look at today is, are you making excuses? Are you allowing people to put you in a box and just accept it, and at the same time you're whining about it? What are the conditions that you put in place? What do you expect from your partner? attention, loyalty, self-care, health, a stable income. It can be whatever you can think of. What are the things that you imply that you have to see happening in your partner in order to feel safe and cared for and good? And then you can change that. You can change the conditions that you put in place for your partner and for your relationships. And maybe you want to change those conditions. Maybe you want to be a little more easygoing. Maybe you healed from past trauma. Maybe you totally trust your partner, and in the past you didn't like him or her to go on vacation on their own. And now you feel like you want it for yourself. So you want to allow this for your partner as well. It is really tricky for me to see in which kind of scenario you live in right now, on how restricted you feel, because there's crazy extremes out there, and I don't want to be starting talking about how people even survive in certain conditions, in certain relationship conditions. The most important thing that I want to remind you of is that self-acceptance, self-care, self-respect is so incredibly important in a relationship. And that is something you can work on. That is something where you can evolve and grow, and it will change and affect your relationship at the same time. Have a look at your relationship right now. Do you feel like you can evolve and expand? Or do you feel like you would have to deal with nagging and weird comments and criticism? And you have to be okay. Whenever you change, whenever you try to, influence yourself for the better, you will meet negativity in the outside. And it will spark, it will tickle, it will trigger your self-doubt, and you will maybe be discouraged then to not do what you wanted to do, to not change and to stay the same person. I think what I want to emphasize in this episode is that, all too often we look outside and we see, like unconditional love. We don't feel unconditionally accepted by our partner. But if you can start and see that your partner will always be a mirror of your self-image, then you will see how much power you have over your own self-acceptance and happiness. And it will put you in a place of self-respect and being responsible for yourself and feeling empowered. You will start and go and do those things for yourself that you expect your partner to do for you. And it is so much easier to change your behavior, your view on the world, instead of trying to change the other person. The other person will adapt or fall off the horse, fall off the relationship. But it is okay. It is necessary sometimes in order for you to find yourself and to find true happiness. A very important thing now is that you do it from your heart and not from your ego, not from your mind. That you don't do it in order to teach another person a lesson or to be extra hard on yourself or to heal, in a weird way, something that has happened to you in the past, like overcompensating. It has to come from your intuition, from your heart, and it has to be a true and honest action towards your heart. It cannot be an external reason, it has to be an internal reason. And unconditional love, this is what I want to say ultimately here, starts with yourself. If you don't unconditionally love yourself, you will never really find it in the outside world as well, because the outside world is just a reflection of what is happening inside of you. You might be unaware of this and enabling other people to restrict you and to hold you like all tangled up and unhappy in a position. But it is you who allows this and enables this. It is a part in yourself who still believes that you don't deserve unconditional love. So that will show up in your life, in your external life, in your reality. How do we learn to unconditionally love ourselves? Well, it is very easy to see the things that we like about ourselves for some people. For other people, it is very easy to see all the flaws and all the problems and all the things that we don't have in our life already. And this is where you can put your focus on, your work into. Stop trying to change the world around you. Stop trying to influence the people around you and getting upset on how they treat you. Start looking at yourself and how you feel with your own thoughts when you allow silence. And this is what brings me back to meditation. Meditation is where you take time for yourself, where you observe your thoughts, where you tune into your breath, and you acknowledge all your feelings that are present. Are you scared? Are you sad? Do you feel lost? Do you feel happy and content and fulfilled? Are your thoughts racing? Are your thoughts very destructive and negative? Those are signs that you can put a little more work on self-care, a little more emphasis on self-respect, and how you look at yourself and see the world. Unconditional love starts with you. If there's still parts in you that you reject, maybe from your past, stuff that you can't make sense of why you've done it, why you've acted that way, why your behavior was such and such, you have to learn to forgive and to move on. And you have to be able to look into the mirror with the most kindest smile, softest gaze. Because if you cannot do this, you cannot expect any other person in the outside world to do it for you. The way the people around you treat you is, again, a reflection of how you see yourself. A person on the outside has a hard time to love you more than you love yourself, because there will be a system inside of yourself in place that will not allow this love to touch your heart. And you have to let down your guard, break down your walls, and do the work to start fully accepting yourself now in order to experience great love with your partner, with your family, with your friends. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I will be out there very soon again. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. And if you like my show, please give me a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcast. It would mean the world to me. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.